morning, in contrast with Psalm 22, is Psalm 23 paraphrased so that you might hear it in a new way. So we're so familiar with it. With every breath, love, you shepherd me. Generously, you place my life in my hands. You rest me in the meadow of your presence. I drink from the gentle brook of your peace. You are my next breath and my next. You are my path, my steps. The way to life leads through death. You go there, and I willingly follow. Your presence beside me, your wisdom before me. Despite my fears and doubts, this life is a feast. You embrace me with such love. Feed me with such delight. Your goodness and mercy shadow me, and with every breath, I am returned again and again to you. Amen. Fire of your love, send forth your Spirit, that we may all be renewed, and together through you, we shall renew the face of the earth. Amen. And so today I want to tell you we are so blessed to have with us Charles Holmes, author, scholar, and poet, who will share selections from a number of his poetry books. And he writes these with the hope that readers will feel my intent. I write to touch people's lives in an effort to give light to little things. And so this is going to be a time of listening and sharing. So, Charles, let me make the mic stand about a foot taller. How's that? You're welcome. Maybe not that tall. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, see you later.
Okay, ciao.
All right, ciao.
Yeah. Thank you. It was billed as 5 poems, but I've cut it down to 4. I'm sure you'll agree that's okay. I practiced them this morning, and I went for 33 minutes with no input from the audience. So I said, we don't want to keep you from lunch, so it's 4 poems. And the question afterwards, if you'd like to, after the poem, if you'd like to respond. If you wouldn't like to respond, that's fine too. Alfred Lord Tennyson really had a lot of fame in the 19th century. He lived 1809 to 1892, and he was poet laureate under Queen Victoria for most of her reign. He was a baron, he was royalty, he was really big, and you'd think he'd have a comfort zone life. Maybe he did, but he did write this. My life has crept so long on a broken wing, through cells of madness, haunts of horror and fear, that at last I come to be grateful for a little thing. I like that, because the older you get, the more powerful is a little thing. I'd like to share 4 little things with you, 4 poems, and if you'd like to respond, that would be fine. To a question, if you would not like to respond, that would also be fine. The first is called Discovery. What are the treasures beneath my steps that someday I will say, They were there all the time. Do I dig left? Do I dig right? Why at times did I not dig at all? Discovery is my aim, to find the new in the old, and the old in the new. March 18th, 2023. As a preface to the question, a few days ago, during the week, I heard an interview by an author's new book. The title of the book is Inequality Kills Us All, by Stephen Besnushka. It's a hard one to pronounce. And he talked about health factors and longevity factors, a popular theme. And he went through what we've heard before, factors of poverty influence the health, pollution, a big point, personal care of oneself, diet, exercise, meditation, purpose in work, etc. Social economics for many. Political policies that influence health, like COVID is a prime example. It's different in various countries. And then the last one he mentioned was social support. And he said it was always, he felt out there, it's not a secret, but it's stronger than he thought. And so the first question, this is leading up to the next question, is what country do you think has its people living the longest? What country in the world today? The floor is open. Somebody would like to comment? Yes, Michael. Oh, Michael not only can fix everything, he's also brilliant in observations and truth. It's Japan. And then the question came from the interviewer to the person interviewing him, why do you think that's the case? And the answer of the author was, with due respect, he says, in America, we're individuals, and individualization really is strong. So you have people going to the movies alone, going to the sports events, shopping alone. In Japan, a 5-people group goes to the movies. You know, they don't do it alone, he says. And it's a social group, family, friends, acquaintances way of living. And he attributed to social support being so strong. So the first question is, would you have any thoughts on social support for oneself regarding health and longevity? Anyone like to comment? You can put up your hand or not put up your hand. No one, it's okay, you don't have to. We can go on to number 2. Okay. Anyway, it's a big question. It's very big for me. I don't have family support. Pardon me. The question is, where do you stand, or what thoughts do you have, or what comments might you have for social support regarding health and longevity in one's life? Oh, yes. Well, this is a good group, I can tell. We have plans. Yes, there you go. Well, anyway, good. To me, it's very deep. And anyway, we'll move on to little thing number 2. Little thing number 2. The subject of little thing number 2 is called pencil. When writing things that are common, I got it from Hafiz, it's not mine, of the 14th century. He was a Persian poet, and he was really into household things, which I liked. A plate, a dish, a fork, a table. I wrote a couple of my books on a broom, paperclip. I got it from Hafiz. So I liked it, so I wrote a poem called Pencil. An older instrument, but doesn't show it much. Maybe it's exercise. Clearly patient, diligent, generous, not jealous of eraser or computer, fountain or quill feather pen. But questions come. How does it take in its limitations? Is it cool when it doesn't get credit for beautiful creativity, gentle art, wise wording? Does it sense its true worth? Does it handle mistakes well? Does it accept where it is? And the last one I like the best. Does it look upon its work as love? Does it look upon its work as love? April 8th, 2023. That thought of work as love is not mine. It's not exactly, it's pretty common, but I got it in my notes from Alan Alda, whom I admire very much. He's in a challenging field. He's a major success, and he's kept his character intact. He was interviewed many years ago. My notes are from a long time ago on this. And he was asked about his profession, being an actor. And he said, I look upon my work as love. I liked it. So Rumi, of course, 13th century, 1207 to 1273, he said, let the beauty that you love be what you do. It's not a new thought, but it's a beautiful thought. The question is, what are your feelings about work as love? If you'd like to comment. It's all right. We can move on. It's shorter if you move on without the question. Yes, Pastor Laurie. Yeah. It can also be in poems. I try to start a poem with love and end with love, whatever that means to me. So work is so big. And a thought that comes to mind is old Irish. I'm not Irish, but I've been around a lot of Irish people for many years. And one of the old Irish traditions, I'm told, is when they start in the older people, when you start the day, you start it with a prayer and begin your work. You don't, go to work on time. They start their day with a prayer to do the best they can. It's kind of has beauty to it. Work as love. Anyone else? Yes?
Whose motto was, there are those that get to do what they love, and then there are the rest of us who love what we do. And I think there's so much truth to that. I think that it's a sort of how you approach whatever it is that, whatever task that is in front of you.
And I just had the thought that,
It's on.
yeah, it's on. If people, all people who do any kind of work realize that their work is valuable, no matter what it is, then it makes it
nor people. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I had a joyful experience this week of traveling up north. Dave and I went along the coast to Sea Ranch in Mendocino. Dave had spent 50 or 60 years as an architect. And we went to Sea Ranch and we saw a house that he designed, obviously being loved and lived in. We went to Manchester and saw an elementary school that he designed. And the parents were bringing in things. They smiled and waved at us. They didn't know who we were. And then we went to Mendocino and saw a high school that he designed that's still being used. And I think the love and it just touched something in him that was beautiful.
I see Susan back there. Let me get. Thank you, Paula. So I'm a retired physician, and I worked for, I don't know, 45 years or so.
Yeah, you're fine.
And I love what I did. But I think I brought more value to the people that I saw just by listening and by having a continuity, so that I saw them through the years and I was able to relate to them and relate stories. And so sometimes it's just listening and giving feedback to people that makes the most difference. And that's such a little thing,
Big thing,
but it's a big thing in the end.
Very big. Thank you.
This is just, I don't think I've ever spoken here. This is just making me think also about, you're inspiring my thought about unpaid work, right? And so, what the definition of work is. And I'm thinking about raising a family and caring for a home, whatever that looks like for someone, taking care of, friends and family who are sick or not well. So there's another kind of aspect that your poem is making me think of work, not necessarily vocation.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Next little thing, rather than tell you the title, when writing a poem, I think most people do it, maybe they don't, but I do it. You do the best you can. You write it first draft and you go over it, each line, each word, until you can say yes. And then at the end, you try to figure out what's the best title for this that fits this best. Well, the titles usually last. Well, this title is The Oft-Forgotten Now. What is greater than grave circumstances which cause unhappiness? Perhaps forgetting the appointed moment called now, which will never come again. Will it uplift or poison my mind? Will it uplift or poison my heart? Will it uplift or poison my soul? Will it affect my wise reach? Will it affect my hopefully wise steps? Will it affect my wise courage? Will it affect my wise compassion? Will it affect the place where I belong? Will it affect future pockets? February 15th, 2023. As an entree or a preface to the question, Buddha mentioned it years ago. He said, be awake. And Meister Eckhart, who has many great quotes in the Middle Ages, was into consciousness and the present moment. And Eckhart Tolle, if I'm pronouncing correctly, is a noted, pardon me? Eckhart Tolle. I can't, the last name is tough. It's Tolle, and the pronunciation on the internet says Taal. So you do it better, of course, but I don't know. Tolle. Anyway, he says the same thing, and that the importance of now, the most important time is, he says, yes, now. hard to argue. And so there's a, how can we make ourselves more conscious of the moment? How can we be more conscious of the moment once we're hopefully conscious of the moment? So the question is simply how to get the most out of today, this day. Feel free to raise your hand or not raise your hand. Well, we could move on to the anyway, I feel for me, I should give my thoughts first. I get up early. I usually get up about 5, and sometimes 5:30. But the morning means a lot to me. I like the quiet. And one of the thoughts that many thoughts, one of the thoughts I really haven't been good of, the doctor mentioned, is paying attention and listening. I'm one of the worst. Not there. But I really work at it, and I'm still not there. But paying attention is big. It's one of the little things. And getting out of the day, confidence comes to mind too. I have a poem called The Dance, which I guess I gave out to everyone here. But there's a major difference when confidence is a close friend. And I try to work on that. You know, I start my day and I have it organized and I do what I can. I don't take days off. I just try to do what I do. But so to try to get the most out of the day. And one of the biggest mistakes of education, in my view, is perfectionism, perfection. I was taught to be perfect, which is impossible, and it leads to guilt, it leads to low self-esteem, it has no value that I can think of. But it was a major mistake, in goodwill, but it was a major mistake because we can't do it. But we try the best we can. So I try to get the most out of each day, in a way. Number 4 is called Idealist. It reads, corruption penetrates shrewdly, sharply, lastingly, I think. Its dark air seeps into so many smart cracks, at times to stifle unwilling martyr breath. Lessen immeasurably a day's reverent attitude. And in the midst of its hooded claws, idealist to dance in filtered breeze, pray for borrowed light, and take in the words of Gandhi. I will not let anyone walk through my mind with their dirty feet. I will not let anyone walk through my mind with their dirty feet. And hopefully hearing the often not heeded words, time is short, live this day well. Time is short, live this day well. April 26, 2023. As a preface, John Wooden, which you've all or most have heard of, a great basketball coach who lived to be 99. He taught basketball, but he taught how to live his players. One of his quotes, it's the little details that are vital. Little things make big things happen. So the question is on that, would you like to, excuse me, what is the biggest little thing in your life? Or what is the biggest little thing that happened yesterday, Saturday? Or what is the biggest little thing for you today? The subject is little things And what is the biggest little thing? Would you like to comment? Yes. Yes, Pastor Laurie.
This little thing is how I breathe, because that's happening constantly. And when I'm tense, it's a shorter breath, and then that can create all kinds of anxiety. When I relax the body, it relaxes the mind, and I'm just conscious of the breath. So it's a little thing, and it's happening all the time.
Big. It's big. The breath is so big. I read, or I did, somewhere, that it's a good idea to do deep breathing exercises early in the morning when the air is good. But now it's pollen in the air, so it's maybe not the good time. But when the air is clear and the cars aren't there and the pollen's not there, deep breathing is a wonderful exercise. Because if you read, Meyer Schneider, do you know Meyer Schneider? He was born blind. He drives a car, and he has a store in San Francisco, and I think it's 48th Avenue. I only went to him once, about 20, 25 years ago. But he has a tome of exercises for people to do. And the first exercise in this large book, it's, an inch and a half, guess what the first exercise he recommends? Breathing. And he's an expert. Anyway, it's a big thought. We try to do it, but it's a thought to do breathing exercises as part of our exercise, because he says it's a great idea, and it seems to be, and it's a thought. So, in summary, and any more questions? No,
I was
Nancy.
just thinking singing
Singing.
really is about a lot about that and what a gift that is.
That's a real gift. Of course, Zorba the Greek, if you remember the movie, which I don't remember it too well, but I remember the title, he says, when in doubt, dance. I don't dance anymore, but I think it's a good idea for those who can. In summary, we looked at social support with the concept of T.S. Eliot's famous quote of years ago comes into it. As we get older, we hopefully see things in a deeper way than we did before. Pastor Laurie probably knows the quote, and it is, we will sometimes cease our exploration and end our exploring by arriving at the place that we started and see it for the first time. And it seems to be the story of life. We know more at 70 than we did at 25. And it's a growth situation. But anyway, we looked at social support, and the author of this book, Equality Kills Us All, says it's stronger than he once thought. We looked at work is love, which is a real big thought, I think. We looked at consciousness of now, being present. And of course, we all fail in all of them, I think. I sure do. But now, not yesterday, Wooden told his basketball players, tomorrow is, yesterday was yesterday, it's gone. Tomorrow hasn't happened. So this is the game we're going to work at. Anyway, and the importance of little things mean a lot. In conclusion, I'd like to share with you a poem I wrote many years ago. I forget how many, but it's called Little Joys. What is the mighty note in today? Goodness, honor, courage, calm demeanor, love voice, gentle art, mindful ways, or is it little joys, little joys, little joys? Thank you very much.
seriously, I loved that experience because of the questions and because of the responses and what we learned about one another. Thank you so much. And so now let's hear our poetic sung response.
Feel free to join in. This is You Are My Sunshine, words found in your bulletin. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. You are my night, dear, while I lay sleeping. I dreamt I held you in my arms. When I awoke, dear, I was mistaken. So I hung my head and cried. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
That time of reflection, we now bring to mind our prayers and our gratitudes, prayers of our needs, prayers of consolation, and prayers of gratitude. So I was communicating with Barbara Copeman this morning, and she is still in Michigan with her brother Bill, who's in hospice, and she asks for your prayers and for your love, and she sends her love and prayers to all of us, her church family. We continue to remember all those we love who have died and are forever with us in our hearts. All those family members, siblings, friends. With us now forever and in a new way. We lift up prayers of gratitude for ongoing healing with Sentho Kilgore taking longer and longer walks and being able to communicate more and more clearly after her brain surgery. Mike Wergler, here he is on a smaller walker now. Are there other prayers this morning? I lift up a prayer. Okay, Nancy, go ahead.
Today is May 7th is my mom's birthday, and so I just would like to remember her today. She would have been 109 if she were alive.
Wow.
She was born in 1914.
Wow. Nancy's mom, thank you. Thank you. I lift up in prayer that place in your heart where there are prayers that are known to you and to God, whatever those might be.